All right, guys, here we are. We're in the last stage here. I've spent a couple hours, maybe about 4 to 5, kind of putting this all together. And as you can see, here it is. I started with maybe 5 tracks, I think. And now I have down to, looks like 12 tracks, right? So this, it got pretty big. But I'm still clocking in. It looks like under about 2, no, it's got to be more than that. That's just where I'm at right now. Okay, yeah, so we're about 3 minutes here, and under 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right? So I really didn't expand too much, actually, which is kind of rare. Usually, usually these things only get bigger. But you can see it's definitely expanded. You can see right up here in this area, you can see just how dense it's become. Like I said, I've had things go up to 16 to 20 to 30 tracks. I mean, it's been kind of insane. But I'll just take a little peek down here as we get far more dense with all the different things that are happening. This is probably a good spot to look at. And you can see here, all this stuff has to be kind of manually adjusted. Just if you're going to do this, just keep this in mind. Let me zoom in just a bit more here. You can see how the volume has been changed. Here the volume is down, then I'm bringing it back up. Fade in, fade out kind of stuff. All this stuff, each one has to be placed. And then, of course, the volume's adjusted to make sure they're not stepping over one another. And this happens, you'll be doing a lot when you get into action pieces and stuff like that. So we can move it over to here. You can see some of this. This is a panning. The blue bar is a panning. The yellow bar is volume. And I've panned it hard left, or you can do right. Again, the fades and all these different things that are happening in this. I've got these spikes here where the rain's coming up, most likely because the narrative up here is a gap, right? So here's that gap right in there. Everything except for the chanting was brought up. But you can see, you can start off one way and things get kind of complicated, right? In a good way, right? I think, you know what? This is very synonymous with Dungeons and Dragons and how we DM. We start with a simple premise and it just gets complicated, right? And we're adjusting things all along the way. So this is the final result of working in this. It took about 4 to 5 hours, something like that, give or take maybe half hour or so. And, it's going to go slow for you if you're just starting out because you probably don't know all your sound effects. You don't know exactly what means what or, how things are labeled because you're downloading them from somebody else sometimes. You're finding them on a freesound.org or whatnot. You got to rename all this stuff. I have, like I said, thousands of sound effects. And I just have a good feeling because of using these for years and years and years of where things are at so I can move along at a little bit of faster pace. But this is the final result. It's safe to use in your campaign. It's spoiler free. It's just going to set up the premise. And maybe when they get to the end, they find out about the boar and they find out about all this stuff. They'll think back on this, say, oh, that's what that ceremony was about, right? That's what I try to do with my cutscenes. I hope this kind of pulls back the curtain a little bit and gives you a peek with how these things are put together, at least for me, just for me, right? So like I said, this will be on my SoundCloud. Just look for, I think, Thunder and Tusks is what I'm going to call it. You'll know when you see it. All right, guys, that's it. That's the entirety of this video. I think it's gone on long enough. I'll see you in the next one.